Welcome to Central Georgia Focus. I'm your host today, Raymond Tubb. It is time to stuff the truck. 13 WMAZ and the Middle Georgia Community Food Bank are teaming up to fight food insecurity across Central Georgia. And while we have a lot of fun collecting the non-perishable food donations, the mission's still a very serious one. According to the latest Central Georgia stats, the community need for food is even greater this year than last year. Our guest here today to talk about how the Middle Georgia Community Food Bank is successfully helping feed families across Central Georgia. We have Kathy McCollum. She is the president and CEO of the Middle Georgia Community Food Bank. And I guess let's start off by talking about just who you serve, because it is a lot of Central Georgia counties, and you partner with so many community organizations like Meals on Wheels and others as well.
We do. We serve a 24 county service area, and that stretches from the west all the way from Upson and Pike County to the east, beyond Lawrence County to Treutlen County, as far north as Jasper County, Monticello, and down south that includes Dooley County. So we cover a large area there.
Yeah, we have a large viewing area, and your coverage area is slightly bigger than that. So you cover a big swath of Central Georgia. And we talked a little bit about some of the partner agencies, but just who all do you work with?
Well, for an organization to be a partner agency with us, they have to be either a nonprofit or a church. And we are happy to share food with those agencies. We have over 200 of those scattered throughout those 24 counties. And most of those are food pantries, where folks who need food assistance can go to get emergency groceries. We have a few other types of agencies. We have some soup kitchens that serve hot meals. We have some backpack agencies that take food into schools for students to enjoy on the weekends and school holidays. We have a few shelters, so Salvation Army, Brookdale Resource Center here in Macon. We have some of those that also receive food from us, and a few residential areas, residential homes like group homes that can receive food from us as well.
Of course, we hear the term food insecurity used a lot, but just exactly what does that term mean?
I like to contrast it with hunger. We can think about being hungry as a temporary sensation. It's been a little while since breakfast, or it's almost time for lunch. We all experience hunger. Food insecurity really describes a situation for a family where they don't have the resources that they need to regularly get the healthy food their family needs. So those are folks that, whether they're working or not working, they just can't stretch their dollars to get that healthy food for their family.
As we're talking about, there are more people this year experiencing that than last year, and a lot of times it seems children are even more impacted.
Absolutely. Every year we get updates from Feeding America by county that tells us how many people are estimated to be food insecure in each of those counties. And this year we were shocked that the number went up by 25%.
Wow.
Across our 24 county area. It's estimated that almost 107,000 people in our 24 county area are food insecure. That's 1 in 7. And you think about all the people you know, divide that number by 7, that's a lot of people who are struggling. And then when we look at children, it's more than 38,000 children. 1 in 4 children are food insecure. And that's just a heartbreaking statistic when you think about those children who need healthy food to be able to go to school, ready to learn, who need to be able to play and jump and run around. And if they don't have the food that they need to give them that energy, then they are not well positioned to be successful.
Yeah, if you think about it, with we've all seen that our dollars aren't going as far at the grocery store as they used to, and if you're already on a tight or fixed income, you've got that much less to go around.
That is true for families and also for seniors who have those fixed incomes, and then the prices keep going up, and we hear about people who are making decisions about, are they going to buy their medicine, or are they going to buy food?
Well, we're getting ready for our big annual event that we always enjoy partnering with you all with Stuff the Truck, and it's coming up. And talk about how that saves lives and how it makes a difference in Central Georgia.
We love the opportunity for our neighbors who have extra to give to be able to participate in the work that we do all year long. And of course, right here at the holidays, everybody thinks of sitting down with family at a table loaded with food. So I think that this is just the time of year that we think about food more than we may otherwise. And we think about, if we have plenty who doesn't have enough. So it's a great opportunity for folks to come in, drop off some non-perishable food with us. Those items have a long shelf life, and we're able to share it back out through that partner agency network to get it to all of the corners of the 24 counties that we serve.
Yeah, I guess it helps during the holidays, but it can keep helping on into the new year for people too.
It does. Those donations from Stuff the Truck last year, we were able to get all of those out of our warehouse in Macon to our partner agencies before the end of the year, but then it would go on out until all of those groceries were picked up by folks in need.
Well, you talked some about Feed America and some of the statistics you're getting from that, but I'm sure you get feedback from your local community partners as well about what they're seeing as well. What are they seeing on the ground here in Central Georgia?
We hear a lot back from our partner agencies. They are such an important part of our network because running the warehouse in Macon, we couldn't reach all of the people who were served by those 200 locations across our 24 county area. Those are the folks who tell us those different types of stories about people. One of the most heartbreaking stories I heard came from one of our agencies in Jones County, where an elderly lady came to receive food, and she explained that she had a package of 6 peanut butter crackers, and she was letting herself eat 2 crackers a day. So that package would last for 3 days. Wow. Nobody wants that for a grandparent. Nobody wants that for any of our neighbors in Central Georgia.
Of course, we've had another big stressor just in the last few months that affected a lot of people, especially in the eastern part of our coverage area and your coverage area as well, with Hurricane Helene and the damage that it wrought and the stress that it's put on families as well.
We were able to respond to that. We had our partner agencies in Lawrence and Telfair and Wheeler counties and a few other counties there who were able to respond quickly. We also took food into that area. So we had bottled water and some non-perishable food that was ready to eat without having to have power or a kitchen to be able to do that. We also work really well across the Feeding America network with other food banks in the state of Georgia. The Saturday after Helene rolled through, we took bottled water over to Augusta to Golden Harvest Food Bank, except we couldn't deliver to the food bank. They had not cut all the trees out of the way for us to get there. So working with our friends over in Augusta, they were able to find a fire station where we could drop off those 3 pallets of bottled water. That was not enough, but that was what we had in the moment that we could share. And we do that really well across the state of Georgia and across the United States.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about just how the food bank works, how it gets food and how it distributes it.
We get food from several different sources. We receive food from the Department of Agriculture, where USDA takes mine and your tax dollars and spends it to get food from growers and farmers and producers of food, and then they put that food into the Charitable Food Network. So it comes in as a donation to us. We also receive a lot of food as donations from those same processors and growers. So we receive food regularly from retail stores. We receive food from the food manufacturers in our area. We get food this time of year, particularly from food drives. So somebody puts out a box in their office and they bring us some assorted food. And then we take the dollars we receive and we purchase food, particularly the food that we get that's not typically donated.
All right, and you've got some great buying power, and we're going to get into that and talk a little bit more about how you can make a difference. When we return, we will talk about Stuff the Truck. So many ways you can get involved. You can gather your canned goods and drop them off at the Middle Georgia Community Food Bank trucks. That's going to be from November 19th through the 21st. 13 WMAZ will join the food bank at Walmart locations in Milledgeville, Dublin, Warner Robins, and Macon. And we're going to have many more details about how you can get involved. Stay with us. Welcome back to Central Georgia Focus. Our guest this week, Kathy McCollum, the president and CEO of the Middle Georgia Community Food Bank, and she's sharing with us about how that food bank is successfully helping feed families in Central Georgia. Of course, the food bank has a really long history here in the Middle Georgia community. Talk about how it got started and just what a fixture it's been here.
The food bank got started in 1981. Back in probably 50 years ago, somebody in the country got an idea that there was food going to waste and people going hungry, and came up with the idea of a bank where food could be deposited and withdrawn. So that movement spread across the country as folks in one community said, hey, they're doing it over there. We have that same situation here. So a group of people in Macon copied from Atlanta Community Food Bank after they got started. And the legend is it was a borrowed pickup truck that got everything started, and then the food bank moved into a building. It moved around 2 or 3 times. And we've been in our location out on Old Mulligan East Boulevard with our warehouse since 2006.
But you've got some growth going on there now too.
We do. We've recently been able to add on space there, so we're able to bring in more staff to help us do this work. We had plenty of room for food to come in and be stored. We just needed more staff to be able to get more food in and more food out, because we don't want anything sitting there very long. We want it turned around and going back out to the folks who need it.
And talk about your freezer there, because it's pretty amazing.
Our freezer is one of the biggest surprises that I had coming to the food bank. I thought everything was going to be in a can. Yeah. I tell people that I wasn't even creative enough to think cereal comes in boxes, macaroni noodles come in boxes.
Right.
But we also have a freezer that's the size of a basketball gym.
Wow.
Now, we don't play basketball in there because it is really cold. It's about -8 degrees Fahrenheit, even in July. And I do have the power bill to prove it. We have a cooler that's even larger than that. So we are constantly bringing in frozen products that are frozen meat, we have frozen fruit there. We have a lot of good produce. The other day we had a big shipment of grapes come in. So we have grapes and sweet potatoes and onions and zucchini, yellow squash, all sorts of great fruits and vegetables. And as grocery stores have closed in some of our more rural areas, a lot of our neighbors in those rural counties don't have regular access to fresh fruits and vegetables.
So that can make a difference and help get it to them then. Well, Stuff the Truck is not the only donation effort for the food bank. It is a big one though. We know that even our Stuff the Truck event can make a difference for Neighbors Impact. How impactful was the 2023 event?
2023 13WMAZ made a huge difference by inviting schools to come and participate with us, and also stretching out what had been a one-day event to 3 days. And we were delighted to see our neighbors come out in Milledgeville and Dublin, as well as Macon and Warner Robins. Over 61,000 pounds of food were collected in those 3 days, and it made a huge difference for us.
Yeah, and the monetary donations make a difference too. Talk a little bit about that, because you have special buying power that you can make a dollar go a long, long way.
We can turn a dollar into 8 meals, which is astounding if you think about taking that dollar and spending it at the grocery store. You may get 1 can of food, but we use that to spend on our operating costs and all the things that we need to be able to do and to purchase food. And of course, when we're buying food, we're not buying a bag at a time from a retail grocery store. We're placing orders with wholesalers, and we buy it by the tractor trailer load.
You talked a little bit about the expansion last year for Stuff the Truck, and where we went not just Warner Robins, not just Macon, but also expanding into Dublin and Milledgeville. Talk about and it's something that works for your entire area as well. What you collect here doesn't get sent off to other parts of the country. What's collected in Central Georgia stays in the area where it's collected.
It stays in Central Georgia, and the beauty of it is, while we're not going to the Walmart in Eastman, the folks in Dodge County, our agencies there, do get a portion of that food. So we're turning it around, getting it out very quickly, and all 24 counties get to benefit from the food that is coming in those 4 locations over those 3 days.
Of course, there are other ways to donate. We love to have you out. We love to have you interact with our staff. We usually have our junior journalists, and the food bank volunteers are there as well. It's always a fun occasion for us. But if you can't make it, you can always text the word truck. You see it right there. Just text the word truck to 478-752-1309. And there you can give them a monetary donation. And you heard Kathy talk about just how far they can make your dollar go. 8 meals for people with just $1. So again, if you aren't able to join us, we'd love to have you. But if you're not, just text the word truck. Don't call this number, but text it using your mobile phone, 478-752-1309. Text the word truck, and then you'll get information on how you can donate for the Stuff the Truck event. And food donation and distribution goes on year-round. While we talked about the importance of the holidays, talk about some of the other programs that you have that make such a big difference in Central Georgia.
Well, we do what we do all year long. I know we're excited that other people think about food right here at the holidays, but we typically do in November what we do in February, what we do in April, because we know that those families are struggling. And it's really those partner agencies and their programs that we are supporting all year long. We have a wonderful staff. We have some folks who have been working there over 30 years. We have other folks who have joined us more recently, but everybody really has a heart to serve. And we're really excited about being able to do that and help people and meet their needs. We do have a program called our Senior Brown Bag Program, where we realized a couple of years ago we were able to meet a need that had previously not been met, because we know that there are elderly folks who may have some transportation issues, some mobility issues, who aren't able to go to our food pantries. So we're serving over 700 seniors now. Every other week they're receiving a box of food that is brought to them. And that's not only those non-perishable items, but also some fresh food as well.
And you run the full spectrum. You've got your seniors with the brown bag program, and then on the other end, you've got the backpack program that makes such a big difference for school children.
It does. Over 5,000 students are served through our partner agencies that are specifically backpack agencies. Those are the groups that are taking food into the schools before a weekend or a school holiday. And that's the primary reason that we have to purchase specific types of food, because we typically don't have those individual serving child-friendly food in child-friendly packages. Yeah. So we have to buy those little fruit cups or the individual bowls of cereal and the shelf-stable milk that we sometimes get donated, where we're able to have those good nutritional items for those children in weights that they can take home, along with their books and their other items for school.
Well, we've talked a lot about the donations, and they are so important for the success of the food bank, but an organization like that cannot work without its volunteers. You talked about them a little bit a minute ago, but go more in depth on just what the volunteers mean and what they do, what a difference they make.
Most of our partner agencies are volunteer run. We have a few that have some paid staff, but most of those are churches that have a few people who are picking up the food, getting it back, sorting it, boxing it up, helping distribute it on their days that they distribute. We also have volunteer groups that come into our warehouse and pack bags and boxes that are ready for distribution. Because of our expanded office area, we added on a really nice, safe volunteer area that's accessible for folks who have mobility issues. So we can welcome in all types of neighbors to come in and help us in this work. And then those boxes are shipped out either for our Senior Brown Bag Program or to counties where we don't have enough agencies to be able to meet the need. And of course, during Stuff the Truck, we will have a need for a lot of volunteers to help us. We're recruiting those, and that people can go onto our website and select an area where they want to volunteer on the day of Stuff the Truck. So if they want to help us invite people to make those donations or to accept those donations as shoppers come out of the store, we'd love to have them come and be with us.
Yeah, people in Central Georgia are so gracious and bring so much food in, and so it's helpful to have those volunteers to help get that food onto the truck. Well, we're talking about the Middle Georgia Community Food Bank and our Stuff the Truck program. Stay with us. Today on Central Georgia Focus, we're talking about the Middle Georgia Community Food Bank and how it helps people across our Central Georgia viewing area. And let's go and recap the upcoming Stuff the Truck event and let you know where we're going to be and how you can get out and join us if you'd like to by bringing in some canned goods and monetary donations. We're going to be out on November the 19th in Milledgeville at the Walmart there from 10 in the morning until 7 in the evening. On November 20th, we're heading to Dublin, and we'll be at the Walmart in Dublin from 10 until 7. And then finally, on November 21st, the big day, we're covering both Macon and Warner Robins, and that one gets started even earlier, 6 o'clock in the morning until 7 o'clock at night. A big, long day to wrap things up. And we certainly hope to see you at one of those Stuff the Truck events in Milledgeville, Dublin, Macon, or Warner Robins. Well, this year too, we're going to continue working with school districts. That was a big addition last year, and the schools really came through. Different classes would compete, different schools would compete, and the kids came through with flying colors and just shattered our records with all the donations they brought. And this year we're adding something new. We have members of the faith-based community getting involved.
We do, and I'm excited to see some of the different groups. We typically have a lot of Christian churches who are partner agencies with us, but we're seeing some support outside of the Christian faith, which is wonderful, because we know that all of us who live here in Central Georgia are interested in helping our neighbors, regardless of our faith background, because that is a bigger need than the, a particular faith doesn't have a monopoly on serving our neighbors, and we're delighted to see that broadening of support.
Yeah, we've already had churches that were participating. I know there was a women's group that brought a big van full of stuff when we were in Milledgeville last year, and I was helping out over there. So we decided why not make it formal and invite the church organizations to get involved as well. Of course, you were mentioning earlier that you do need some volunteers for Stuff the Truck and year-round. Talk a little bit about how people can get involved.
We have, on our website, we have a way for people to learn more about volunteering, where groups can come in. They're typically from companies or schools, where we can bring in like 12 to 15 is a great group size to come in and knock out a project to pack a bunch of boxes for distribution. We have another opportunity for folks who can, they can do it either with us at the warehouse or from somewhere else. We call it Senior Smiles, where with our senior brown bag boxes, we love to have those notes that come in from children with pictures drawn, or just notes to let people who may not have a lot of socialization be able to know that there are people out there who care about them and want to meet their needs.
Well, if there's one more thing you could share about the Middle Georgia Community Food Bank, what would you like to share?
I'd like to say we have a wonderful staff, and I'm so appreciative every day to get to work with them, and we really appreciate the community support, because without that, there's no way that we could be successful.
Well, real quickly, let's go over the kind of items that you can bring. You always need the canned items, of course. Peanut butter, so important, really high in protein and nutrients. It keeps well. Seasonings, pasta, beans, rice, anything else you want to add?
We really like those healthy options, so we encourage shoppers to look for the low sodium when they're looking at vegetables, or no sugar added for fruit, because there are folks who have dietary needs that have to shy away from things that have a lot of additives in there.
And again, once again, we didn't have cash on that list, but that's always helpful, because again, $1 can buy 8 meals. So it's amazing buying power that they get, so you make a difference with that. But they do need the food items that we showed there as well. Well, that is going to do it for us. Thank you for watching Central Georgia Focus. We hope to see you during Stuff the Truck this coming week. And again, if you can't join us for that, you can always text TRUCK to 478-752-1309.